I mean, I know I'm wearing leather, which is something. I mean, there's like now the one thing I will agree with is that, so speaking of like animals and all that stuff, the one thing that does creep me out of everything are taxidermies.
Oh yeah, I also feel weird about taxidermy because we wouldn't like stuff our grandmother,
Yeah.
or stuff like that, to honor their memory or something. We tend to like want them to be, buried in the ground or
Yeah.
whatever, society. I mean, like, not to say that, like, not to, I don't know, not to treat any or say that any culture that does do that is inherently terrible, but it just personally I feel weird about that because, like, where I'm from, we don't stuff our dead relatives, and that's typically how I see animals, as relatives.
Yes. All right.
Alrighty. So, our question today.
God,
is
I'm
about...
a little nervous. I know.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
Go on.
That's perfect. You could, I don't know. I was gonna say picture everybody naked, but they're all on the screen. So.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm Elvin.
Elvin, pleasure meeting you. My name's Anthony.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, indeed.
So how do you feel? This is our question today. Should the powerful have the right to oppress the powerless?
I mean,
how do you feel about that?
So, I feel like that's a really good question. So you're talking about in terms of people who just have like power.
Who have power, like no matter smart or strong. Like should they then have the right to oppress somebody who doesn't have that power?
I absolutely think it's unfair, 100%.
Right.
It's 100% unfair because, and I love this question because the best way I can describe it, it's like people who are basically like have such a capitalist mindset.
Yeah.
They're very, one time I was in a Lyft ride, right? And an Uber driver or whatever he was at the time. And then, he was driving and, he was making money. And he said weekly he was averaging around like $3,000 or $4,000 a week. But yet, the corporate was complaining about drivers making that much money.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like, how, like, I don't, it's like the best way I can describe it. It's like, who can understand the logical sense behind that?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's like, so even though they have, like, say the corporate has power, right? They have control over like however much the drivers are making who are actually providing the service, right? So like that's obviously wrong. And so we say like just the way that they abuse their power, like there's many situations where humans abuse the power that they have over animals. And so like we oppress animals in many ways with things like greyhound racing or stuff like that, horse racing, whether for food, like by and large, like they're used for breeding, slaughtered by the millions, just for food. And so we ask today, like if we know that we have many options that don't include animal exploitation, or animal suffering in general. What's stopping us from using those substitutes or shifting away as a society as a whole, away from using animals or seeing them as objects, because that's essentially like what we do. Like we reduce them to objects so that we can feel comfortable using them.
Well, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's just also when it comes to like clothing and things like that too. I mean, I know I'm wearing leather, which is something. I mean, there's like now the one thing I will agree with is that, so speaking of like animals and all that stuff, the one thing that does creep me out of everything are taxidermies.
Oh yeah, I also feel weird about taxidermy because we wouldn't like stuff our grandmother, or stuff like that, to honor their memory or something. We tend to like want them to be, buried in the ground or whatever, society. I mean, like, not to say that, like, not to, I don't know. Not to treat any or say that any culture that does do that is inherently terrible, but it just personally I feel weird about that because like where I'm from, we don't stuff our dead relatives, and that's typically how I see animals, as relatives.
Yes.
I feel like there's a lot of power in that people don't recognize that they could use today. Like, how do you feel about maybe seeing animals as not as objects, but as like beyond human kin? Like, have you ever heard that term?
Absolutely. I've heard of like, I don't know if I heard of that term specifically, but I know I've heard of something very similar to what you said. Yeah, like the ideologies. Yeah. the idea part of it.
Do you feel like you would like subscribing to that type of mentality, like seeing animals as relatives? Do you feel like that would be something that maybe more aligns with your morals, or doesn't?
Like to a lot of degree it does, because I mean, you know, especially it really depends. Like I mean, it's kind of hard to describe.
It does get hard. Well, it's hard because we start to think about situations where, you know, we feel like our use of animals may be justified. Like, well, you know, culturally, this food has been in my family. Like, we've been cooking and making this and enjoying this meal for generations. However, like, the question that we start to ask in those situations is, how are we justifying that use, though? Because when we look in any other situation, we can say that culture doesn't justify that oppression, right? Like, just because it's culturally acceptable for men to abuse women, right? It's still not morally right. Like, we still can take a stance against that. We can acknowledge that that's maybe part of our culture that we don't want to acknowledge anymore as we move forward as like a society or as a culture in general. And so what we say is, like, there's good parts to culture, there's bad parts of culture. You try to take the good and keep that and reshape what you can, especially when it comes to around, like, you know, animal rights. Because as it's been obvious that they've been objectified and put into objectified stances forever.
True.
And so that's something we're trying to turn away from.
No, that's something I would definitely be more involved in.
Yeah. Have you heard of veganism at all?
That's a really good question. I don't know if I've heard of that specifically.
Veganism is like
veganism.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I know about veganism. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, I misunderstood
No
for a
worries.
minute because I wasn't too sure what you said. My mind is just all over the place. But yes, veganism. Like people who avoid every animal product that they can avoid. Like,
well, actually, it's more so. Okay, so veganism, that's actually something vegans do, right? That's a consequence of veganism, not inherently negative or anything. Or positive. Just a consequence of veganism. So what veganism actually is the stance a stance against the animal exploitation, right? Against the exploitation of sentient beings for any use, for any reason whatsoever, right? Because sentient beings, they think, they feel, they want to form communities of their own and stuff like that.
True.
So we just acknowledge that, and then so because of that acknowledgement, we don't feel it's right that we pay for or actively contribute to any system that's perpetuating their harm.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Right? Like, as far as I see the point. Like, as far as like you know, in terms of like, you know, like you said, like any form of use, you know.
Yeah, like zoos or rodeo, stuff like that. We wouldn't go to those, or aquariums, because like those fish should be swimming free if they can. The rodeo animals shouldn't be getting ridden and like abused like it's some spectacle. And then, like, you know, and ever to the zoo, like they're all confined. Even if the Oregon Zoo, like there's a lot of abuse towards the elephants specifically. You can look up there, actually, if you'd like. There's a lot of research on the abuse that the elephants have faced at the Oregon Zoo, and that's just one species of animal. And so I guess what we get at, right, is that veganism is not the diet, right? Veganism is the mindset, and then you have a plant-based diet, which is, you know, the food component.
True.
May I ask you maybe what would be the hardest part, or what's stopping you from maybe going vegan or seeing these animals, right?
I mean,
and that's keeping in mind, like, it's not not necessarily the plant-based diet part, it's the mindset. Like, what's stopping you from switching your mindset?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. No, from this point on, like, that's something I actually want to be more involved in. I'm
glad that, because I'm sure that's what we believe, right? Anti-animal use, we're a group out here, we do outreach, conversational outreach. We believe that a lot of the people out here are wanting to do so. They just maybe don't have the resources on how, or maybe haven't literally thought about it. Like, I had not thought about, I actually didn't know how we got cow's milk before I went vegan, or like before I started going vegan.
That's why I drink almond milk.
Right, yeah, because like they're mothers who are separated from their babies at the end of the day. Like, that's what has to happen for milk. Like, for us to get cow's milk or any mammal's milk, they have to be impregnated. The baby has to be taken away so that they don't drink the milk, so that we can drink it. And so, like, it's just all about recognizing that those injustices are injustices. And wanting to just do better. Can I get you a card? We have a card with like a bunch of resources.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I get a card from one of you? Woo! Can I get a card? I just don't have one in my pocket. I don't know why I didn't grab one. But yeah, so this card, it'll show a bunch of like nutrition facts. It shows Dominion. This is like a documentary that shows standard practice. So if you do continue to eat meat or eat animals, so to say more specifically, right?
Like I could definitely work with this. Like,
yeah, I mean, like this, it's super easy, right? Because when you think about it, all meat and dairy probably isn't even a big part of your diet right now.
True.
Like, and honestly, if it is, like, that's when you probably see health consequences. Not that health is ever a reason that we go vegan, right? Because we do veganism for the animals, right? We recognize that they're sentient beings. Then the plant-based diet can have health benefits and stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, definitely has a lot of benefits into it for sure. Because I mean, quite honestly, like I still. Like me, I still eat protein. I still eat chicken every now and then.
Well, like plants have protein though.
And like plants too. Like I eat like different proteins as well. Like I just but definitely the part I do agree with though, like the whole thing with like how like they're in zoos and like they're trapped in places. That part I absolutely agree with.
Well, like, but even like so like the slaughterhouses, right?
Yeah.
Like they're basically zoos just for murder.
That's
and
true.
every animal who like we eat, or every animal whose life we take, has to go through that system. And it's actually 99, it's like actually up there, the percentage go through like the factory slaughterhouse like system. So
that's true.
If you're really against that, like that zoo and the confinement, and you want these sentient beings to be liberated at some point, the only way to do that is to go vegan, changing that mindset, right?
That's true.
And then taking that and do it, because the other part of veganism, right, is doing it as far as possible and practicable.
Yeah.
So we recognize, right, that people who are living in subsistence situations where they need to hunt for their food, or they need to kill somebody for their, like, obviously I probably honestly wouldn't, even if it came down to it.
Yeah.
But the people who are living in those situations who have to, like, we don't judge them because they're still doing what's far as possible and practicable. So that's when they get the subsistence, like, and they use the rest of the animal to honor them. It comes from that mentality.
One thing I will tell you now, like, I can tell you this much: if I can afford anything in the world, and if I had my life like fully settled, then definitely like veganism would be the way to go.
Well, actually, and that's actually another common misconception, is it's actually one of the cheapest diets. Because think about it, like it's just the plants, like it's the legumes, the beans, like on that card, it's the beans, the rice, the noodles, like it's that stuff. What they do, right? So because the country is founded on oppression, right?
Yeah.
The country is built up in this like colonial systems of domination, right?
Yeah.
And taking and whatever. So what benefits them the most? Would it be you going on a plant-based diet, or is it you still seeing animals as objects and perpetuating their use? Because like think of how much money they make off of the animal agriculture industry.
That's true.
Versus how much money could be saved if we just switch to farming plants instead.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, because I want to eat something that's more like, something that's gonna benefit my diet, like as far as like, because eating, it just depends. I want to eat something that's plant-based and natural, which is I've tried food that were like plant-based and tasted natural, because I don't like the artificial stuff.
Right, processed anything is going to be bad. I mean, they did show a study that like processed plant-based foods are still better than like a processed animal-based food, because
that's true.
Like, I don't know, I don't really know the whole science behind it, but that was the consensus. I
would much rather eat that than because the processed animal part, it's still somebody's, and it's what we recognize there is it's still somebody's life was taken for that, right? Like if something's processed but it was plants, like we know it wasn't someone who was processed, right? Like it wasn't a cow who could listen to music. It wasn't a chicken who had had many different personalities. Like that's true.
So it's at the end of the day, it's about acknowledging your impact, because we do really have an impact on these animals. Like if you were to go plant-based completely, like you would save at least 100 to 300 animals a year. It's estimated that I think humans eat up to like 7,000 animals throughout their lifetime just on their own. And so it's about taking your part in everything seriously. Like you said, like you want to, make an active choice to, make that mental switch.
Definitely.
And would you say it's because you believe like animals are sentient, like they think and feel?
Yeah, I could definitely sense that because like, it's so much complexity involved into it, like people, are just like, sometimes they have to go hunt for something that they need.
Yeah.
It's a very tough situation, but at the same time, it's like more, if people have options to just eat, like protein type of vegetable, then I would go that way because in other words, you're right. It definitely saves you a lot of money. You don't have to, because now even like you go to a place where they have protein and everything, that just pretty much, that's so expensive now. So definitely,
well, and like they control the prices of like, so meat, which is like animal flesh, right, is subsidized by the government. So they actually control the prices of like meat and how it fluctuates. Like if it's going high, they'll buy out a bunch of companies so that it goes low. So like what the only real power we have, right, is divesting entirely, and taking ourselves and stop seeing them as object or as a product, because as soon as we change what we see as more so who we see as food, then the whole world can open up. Like there's lots of plant-based recipes and stuff that are exactly like their animal-based alternatives, and we'll just see that as time goes by that it's just completely unnecessary.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. And that's what I mean, like anything like whatchamacallit, like mentioned earlier, like almond milk, that's what I drink. And also like what do we prefer, like we want to go to a place where, like you mentioned about nature earlier, we want to go out to an open space where there's like a lot of flowers,
and biodiversity.
The biodiversity aspect of it. We want to see beautiful butterflies just floating in the air. Like we want to see that kind of stuff. Because like you're right about the whole zoo part of it. I mean, I absolutely agree, because like a lot of people have been saying when they're doing a show here, when they're doing this and that and such, they just feel they're treated as objects. And that is true.
And so I guess I want to ask just a couple final questions. Like, so I want to say, is there anything stopping you from walking away from this conversation with an effort to maybe go vegan?
Yeah, I mean, no. Like, I could definitely.
Yeah. I mean, with that card, like, you'll have so many resources. Like, it covers the money aspect, it covers health aspect, it covers like.
And I need to get on the good health too.
Exactly. So. I mean, there's so many benefits to that you will gain from treating animals and seeing them as kin, because like. Prior to colonization, that's really what they were seen as, and a lot of cultures will see that around the world too.
Give me a second.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm just looking for the card. I'm just gonna check if I put it in my wallet.
No worries, we can get you another one too if you don't have it.
Oh,
perfect.
Boom.
Heck yeah. But yeah, you can either scan the QR code on there, stuff like that. I would highly encourage watching this documentary though. It's like the Dominion on there.
Yes.
Because that just shows standard practice. It shows what you've been paying for and maybe what you no longer want to pay for as well. Because I truly believe if everybody saw, and this is a great, it says Food Not Bombs PDX, free vegan meals every Wednesday and Saturday at Buckman Elementary School.
You know what? I might as well take advantage of this.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Because, and then as you do, like you'll see that there is a vegan community, that there are people who are making that mindset change. Like you may feel alone, or it may feel like, it's not as popular or something, but it's really where the world is headed. Seeing animals as giving them their rights as they deserve. We're not free until all of us are free. And we just feel like that should be extended to animals,
No, definitely. I mean, this is going to benefit me in a lot of ways, because like this will help me lose weight. And that's my goal next month. Is I'm trying to cut down as many weight as I can. and also because like now that I really think about it, and I'll be truthful here, what I've noticed about it, that's what's giving me high cholesterol too.
Exactly. Actually, it's and a whole food plant-based diet is actually one of the only things that's been seen to reverse a lot of ailments like that, like health ailments. But again, I want to stress that like even if a plant-based diet was bad for your health, right?
Yeah.
Like you would still see the value in not harming lives, right? So like you would probably, it doesn't regardless, I guess I'm just trying to hammer home, like regardless of health, like we do it for these people because like the animals, they're people who feel.
True.
They think they, you know, so at the end of the day, that's what's important, and we get these benefits because it's just nice.
Yes.
They're plants, like we're not eating flesh anymore, like so we may feel a little healther. And
we do.
Nice. So yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely that would be the route I'd go, especially if it was much more accessible. And honestly, like what would help too is if I lived in a place with people like that, it would.
Well, and yes, exactly. And what I want to make sure is clear is like they hide it though, because like it seems like it's inaccessible, but what you'll find out is like there's actually 2 fully vegan grocery stores in Portland. And they're like all zero waste. There's ones at zero waste, so they have containers there for you. It's like you walk in, you grab a empty clean salsa jar that they cleaned out, you put a tag on it for the weight that the jar is, and then you can take it and you can go fill it up with like textured vegetable protein or something like that. There's a whole world of compassionate ways to get your nutrition that don't include a violent system that corruptfully abuses beings.
No, you're right about that. I agree. It's just, yeah, it's so much stuff that goes on. It's kind of hard to say, but yeah, no. But I agree with you for the most part, because I mean, I want to feel healthy too. Like, because I could really see myself. It's so much. There's so much benefits that comes with it too, and it's just like, it's definitely it's good for your heart, good for your mind.
Yeah.
It's good for everything, and also, it's just, yeah, definitely something I'm gonna look into.
Yeah, I'm glad. Well, I'm glad we were able to have an open conversation about it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's all we're trying to do is get people thinking about it because, it needs to be thought about. The animals, they resist every day in the slaughterhouses, in the zoos, and in confinement. So. It's the least I feel like I can do is come out here and help amplify their voices where it's needed.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Voices need to be heard for sure.
What was your name?
Anthony.
Anthony. It was nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you as
Elvin.
well.
Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.